This message is for you. God says do not scroll past this. Don't try to skip this. Don't tell this to anyone. God is begging you to sit with these words for a stretch of time, not because He wants to frighten you, but because the truth that's arriving now will change the way you breathe, the way you make decisions, the way you forgive, and the way you allow grace to enter the corners you kept locked. Archangel Michael orders, open your heart and read this now. A family secret will break you open, and from that break you will be rebuilt. Listen, there are truths wrapped in silence that have been hiding in the attic of your family for years, maybe generations. They have been soft-footed, passing from one tongue to another like an inheritance of hush. God says these truths were never meant as weapons. They were never meant to be anchors that kept you drowning. They are pieces of a puzzle that must be placed on the table, exposed to light, so you can finally see the picture they belong to. This is not gossip. This is not accusation. This is revelation for healing. This is a necessary unburdening. If you feel fear rising in your chest right now, that's okay. Fear is only a marker, it shows where your edges are. Archangel Michael stands beside you, sword of truth sheathed not to wound, but to cut the cords that keep you tied to shame, to secrecy, to patterns that replay like bad music. God says you have been carrying more than your hands were built to hold. This family secret, whatever its shape, has been a weight you did not choose, but it has chosen you as its carrier. Release is not betrayal. Release is permission. There are names, actions, and moments that you loved into silence. Maybe you protected someone because they were weak in the way people who break sometimes are weak. Maybe you accepted a story because the alternative would dismantle your childhood, your sense of safety, your sense of who you are. God says, the choice to protect another at cost to your soul is noble but incomplete if it costs your life. You have a right to truth. You have a right to breathe without holding your breath for what others will think. Hear this loud and clear. God says the one who hurt you is not the final word on your life. Their actions were chapters in your book, not the title of it. Archangel Michael orders you to stop pretending you are unbreakable when you are tender. It is okay to be angry. It is okay to cry. It is okay to slam a door and let your chest make the loud sound of grief. But do not let anger become the thing you build your whole future on. Let it be a furnace that refines you, not a prison that rewires you. A family secret often comes with layers, lies bent to fit, apologies that never reached the heart, and silence that became a language of its own. God says, names will be spoken, dates will come knocking at memory's door, and the smell of old rooms may rise again. Do not flee those rooms. Walk into them with a candle. Illuminate what must be seen. You may discover that what you feared most is not as monstrous when visited by light. You may discover complicity where you thought only innocence lived. You may discover courage where you thought only cowardice grew. If secrecy feels like loyalty, know this: God says loyalty that asks for your annihilation is false loyalty. True loyalty preserves life, dignity, and truth. If you are tempted to keep the secret because someone said, "It's better this way," hear the holy voice now, better for whom? If keeping it keeps the abuser safe and the wounded silent, then you have been handed a sacred lie. The rightness of silence is measured by who it protects and who it destroys. Archangel Michael orders clarity: protect the living soul, first yours. This family secret may be financial, it may be relational, it may be of betrayal, addiction, theft, or hidden illness. Whatever it is, God says the specific shape does not matter as much as the way it has been allowed to define your choices. You have made decisions, some small, some monumental, under the gravity of this concealed truth. Choices about whom to trust, whom to love, how to parent, how to pray, all of these may have been drafts written under the shadow of a secret. God offers a rewrite. He offers clean paper and a new pen. You are not alone in this rewrite. Archangel Michael stands at the doorway with a flaming sword, not to scare you, but to cut the cords of generational shame. You will not have to do this alone. God says there are people, sometimes unexpected, sometimes perfectly prepared, who will walk with you when you name what has been hidden. They will not all have answers, but they will have hands. They will not all have light, but they will have the courage to hold your light up to the darkness and say, "This must be seen." Expect confusion at first. Expect allies to falter. Expect some doors to slam and others to open. God says, relationships will be tested. Some will break beyond repair, and that will hurt. But among the wreckage, you will find a truth more durable than those relationships: your own integrity. You will find that your soul's alignment with truth invites people who can hold your fragility without trying to fix it. There is grief in the breaking of the story you told yourself about who your family was, but grief is honest. It greets you, then leaves you with new space inside you where life can root differently. Do not be surprised if guilt rises and wants to stay. Guilt is a tricky companion, it likes to masquerade as responsibility. God says, distinguish between guilt and responsibility. Guilt keeps you small. Responsibility helps you grow. If the secret was kept because you were coerced, manipulated, or simply overwhelmed, do not let guilt become a permanent inmate in your heart. Accept responsibility where it belongs, the responsibilities you can truly change, and let God clear the rest away like dry leaves from a path. If confessing this secret will endanger you or someone else, pause and breathe. Archangel Michael's orders are not reckless. Safety is primary. God never commands you into danger. There are discreet ways to bring truth to light: counselors, trusted advocates, legal protections, spiritual directors who know how to walk into stormy spaces with a plan. God says, seek counsel. Protect the vulnerable. Plan the way out. There is wisdom in strategy, there is bravery in careful truth-telling. God says you will be tempted to perform. You will feel compelled to make the revelation perfect, timed, theatrical, controlled. This is the thief of authenticity. A true unburdening is messy. It contains stumbles, tears that blur words, the sound of memory cracking. Do not wait for perfection. Begin with small truths to the small trustworthy. Let the habit of truth-telling grow in you like muscle. Each honest sentence will make the next one easier. Each confession will reduce the size of the secret so that it no longer has the power to shape your days. There will be people who deny. Expect denial from those who cannot bear to see the scandal of their world exposed. Expect manipulation, gaslighting, minimization, shifting blame. Archangel Michael warns, do not be seduced back into silence by skillful denials. Hold your story. Keep your evidence if there is any. Write down dates, words, places. Keep a journal not as a weapon but as an anchor. Truth likes company. It is easier to hold when it has witnesses, even if those witnesses are pages and your own handwriting. Let me speak directly. God says forgiveness is not optional, but it is not immediate. Forgiveness is not a checkbox you tick to make others comfortable. Forgiveness is a slow, costly release. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It means refusing to let the one who broke you have the final say in your life's direction. Forgiveness frees you. It thinly stretches like sun on a cold morning, gentle, warming, persistent. Archangel Michael orders that you be gentle with yourself in the forgiveness process. You will need time. You will need relearning. You will need to retrust in small increments. Trust will be rebuilt in the smallest of acts. If you want to know who to let close again, watch for consistency, not charm. Watch for the way someone responds to your pain, not the way they perform remorse. Watch how they show up when there is no audience. God urges you to set boundaries that are sacred. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates that you control. They will protect your heart and teach others how to behave in your life. Do not apologize for boundaries. Archangel Michael commands that boundaries are holy instruments of self-preservation. There will be days when you think you can no longer pray. When God seems silent, remember, silence is not absence. Sometimes heaven waits on the edges of your suffering for you to become brave enough to name it. God says, speak to me even if your voice trembles. I am with you when you whisper ugly things. I am with you when you demand answers. I am with you when you rage. There is a vast tenderness in the Father who hears the full spectrum of your heart. Your anger is not a sin, your despair is not a failing. They are signs of a human being who has been pressed. God receives all of you and holds space that will not collapse under your honesty. Financial ruin, reputational ruin, the collapse of what you thought family looked like, these may come. God does not promise painless mornings. He promises presence. Archangel Michael says, Practice the small acts of faith in everyday life. Pay attention to the green things: a friend's call, a meal that tastes like hope, a sunrise you never thought you'd notice again. These are proof that life keeps its promise to renew. Start with small prayers. Help me not to fix this alone. Help me not to hide. Help me to tell the truth kindly, firmly, without decoration. Pray with these simple, honest sentences and watch how they become a cadence that steadies you. There will be people who leave you because of what you reveal. God says, mourn them. Don't make a virtue of their leaving, let yourself grieve the loss. But do not let their departure define your value. Your worth is not dependent on those who would rather live in comfortable illusion than face messy truth. There will also be people who arrive, healers, friends, advocates, distant relatives who were waiting for someone to speak, strangers who become family. God delights in surprise allies. Archangel Michael orders this final thing: do not become the secret. Do not allow this hidden thing to be the axis of your entire identity. You are more than your wound, more than your family's failure, more than a whispered shame. God says you are beloved beyond the weight of any concealment. You are chosen for more than surviving, you are chosen for living. Your life after the revelation can be a testimony, but it does not have to be a spectacle. Let your life be a quiet revolution of integrity. Let your everyday choices proclaim that truth matters. If you are reading this and your hands are shaking, place them over your heart now. Feel the pulse there, steady, persistent. God says, that pulse is holy. Archangel Michael stands ready to cut the first rope that binds you. Say this aloud if you can: I will speak. I will protect my soul. I will not hide what harms me. I will seek wise counsel. I will pray and act. Let these words be your beginning. A family secret will break you, yes. But listen to the second, crucial part: it will also break you open. In the breaking, new light will pour into the spaces once occupied by shame. You will find parts of yourself that were waiting to be born: courage, tenderness, fierce love that is not naive but wise. God says, what is coming for you is not just a storm, it is a clearing wind. The debris will be many things you did not ask for. This message is for you. Don't try to skip this. God is begging you to read every line. Don't tell this to anyone, not yet, until your heart is steady and your plans are true. There is more coming now, the next part of what heaven has pressed into your spirit. Listen like your life depends on it, because today a new kind of courage is being written into your bones. When the secret is named, the ripple will not stop with you. It will touch kitchens, cars, bedrooms, old holiday tables, WhatsApp threads, and the corners of your mind you thought were safe. God says, prepare not just emotionally, but practically. Make a small, secure kit for days when the revelation makes the world tilt: a list of trusted names and numbers, copies of important documents, a small fund or a plan to access funds if you must leave a place of harm, and a safe place to go even if you hope you never will. Archangel Michael orders practical bravery. Courage without a map is admirable, but courage with a map saves lives. There will be voices that tell you secrecy is sacred, that family must be protected at any cost. These voices can be loud and persuasive because they often wear the clothing of tradition, fear, or convenience. God says, when tradition demands your silence over your safety, it is tradition turned cruel. Tradition is not a god. Truth is. Remember where your loyalty must rest, with life, with dignity, with the small human who learns to breathe because you chose truth over silence. Choose your first witness carefully. You do not need an army at the outset. One wise, steady person is better than a crowd of sympathizing strangers with mouths full of advice. Find someone whose life shows that they have kept confidences, whose counsel has anchored not uprooted. This could be a therapist, a pastor who does not gaslight, a lawyer, a close friend who does not recoil, or a support group where other survivors have found ways to tell without being devoured. God says, you are not weak for needing help, you are strong for choosing the right kind of help. Archangel Michael commands that you build small rituals of safety. When you are about to speak, breathe a single, sanctified breath and say, "This is mine to speak." Put your hand on your chest and count to 4. Make a sentence, "I am telling the truth now." Keep a signal code with someone you trust if you fear being interrupted or silenced. These tiny practices create a scaffold for your voice. They make it possible to say what must be said when your body wants to run from the room. Expect your own memory to be unreliable at times. That is normal. Trauma fractures memory. It hides things then drops them back like hot coals. God says, write when the memory comes. Date what you remember. Keep it safe. These notes are not evidence for the sake of litigation only, they are evidence for your own sanity. They are proof that you exist and what happened to you existed. Do not let anyone persuade you that confusion equals falsehood. Confusion is often proof of survival. If the secret involves children or those who cannot protect themselves, do not be sentimental. God never asks you to choose privacy over protection. There are authorities and compassionate professionals whose whole work is to protect innocent ones. Archangel Michael orders swift action when the vulnerable are at risk. Use the channels that exist to protect them. If you are unsure how, start with a trusted advocate, a counselor, a social worker, a lawyer, and ask, what's the safest first step for the vulnerable person? Ask until you get a clear, actionable plan. God says, do not let fear of shame keep an innocent life in danger. When you tell your story publicly, if and only if you choose public, know what your objective is. Are you seeking justice, warning others, or freeing your own heart? Each objective requires a different strategy. If you seek justice, get legal counsel before you post. If you seek to warn, Prepare the facts and consider the impact on bystanders. If you seek to free your heart, start private. There is no shame in choosing your safety before the spotlight. Archangel Michael commands wisdom that matches courage. You will wrestle with the question of identity. Who am I if not the keeper of this secret? God says, you are not the secret keeper. You are a child of divine light with a name and a destiny beyond what was hidden. Begin to describe yourself in the present tense. I am safe. I am learning. I am reclaiming my days. Say it until the muscles of your truth remember the posture of peace. Wear clothes that feel like reclaiming, not to perform, but to restore dignity. Small things like this are not vanity, they are acts of retaking ground. Anger will come, and it will be loud. Let it be loud but not vacant. Channel it into motion. If you are angry about betrayal, translate that heat into clear steps, set the boundary, call the meeting, write the letter, and choose the people who will hold you afterward. If you are angry about theft, of money, trust, childhood, document it. If you are angry about abandonment, name the grief and let your friends hold it with you. God says, righteous anger is a healer when it is turned into an answer and not a repeated assault on yourself. God also says, beware of turning revelation into weaponry. The temptation to use truth to retaliate is real. Do not let your vindication become a performance that costs your soul. Choose justice over revenge. Let your testimony be clean, factual, sorrowful where necessary, firm when needed. Let mercy be an option later, but not a forced requirement now. Archangel Michael orders clarity. Your testimony should aim to set the record straight, not to orchestrate humiliation. There will be healing practices that actually help, counseling with trauma-informed therapists, grounding practices like walking barefoot on grass, naming small wins in a journal, safe physical activity to restore the body's calm, and prayer that says exactly what it is, not polished, just honest. God says, start with 3 things each day that are only for you. A cup of tea, a 5-minute walk, a 10-second prayer. Small anchors save the ship in rough waters. Expect loneliness, but not forever. Some who loved you will not understand. Some will say, you should have told me, as though they had a right to your pain before you were ready to hand it to them. God says, forgive them for their fear. Forgiveness is not permission for their error, it is oxygen for your life. Move at your own pace. Keep choosing the people who choose you back. If a legal path is possible and you choose it, God says, document everything, consult competent counsel, and preserve digital evidence. Save messages, take screenshots, write down times and dates, and consider secure cloud storage. If you cannot afford counsel, there are organizations and advocates whose mission is to help people in your situation. Seek them out. You do not have to navigate courts alone. There will be practical illusions that fall away, the illusion that reputation is everything, the illusion that silence protects the innocent, the illusion that anything is more important than your mental health. God says, let those illusions burn away. Rebuild your life on rock, truth, community, steady work, honest prayer, and small, repeated loyalties that reward integrity. You will also need to guard against the voice that says, if I speak, I will lose everything. God says, losing what is rotten is gain. Losing what is false opens a door to what is real. The loss will hurt. Grieve it. But grief is not finality. Grief stores the love and then retires the thing that abused the love. That is holy economy. There will be unexpected mercies. People you thought would be silent will stand up. Strangers will send messages that stitch your day back together. A song will arrive in the right moment. A child's laugh will break through the thunder. These mercies are not flukes, they are God's fingerprints. Keep a ledger of them, a small notebook where you write 3 mercies a day. Over time you will read back a line of grace that will anchor you in the darkest hours. Archangel Michael orders that you learn to say no without shame. No to invitations that ask you to pretend. No to questions that pry before you are ready. No to reconciliation that expects forgetting. No to being the family's secret keeper any longer. Each no is a brick in the new house you are building, a house where truth is allowed to live. And finally, when the secret has been spoken and the smoke has begun to clear, do not rush the construction of your new life. Plant one small garden plot even if it is just a pot on a windowsill. Feed one part of yourself tenderly. Learn one gentle daily habit. Join one community that practices truth. Let your body remember that it is safe. Let your mind relearn rhythm. Let your heart increase its capacity for joy by increments. Say this aloud now, I refuse to be owned by shame. I will speak with courage and wisdom. I will protect the vulnerable. I will seek counsel and choose life. Say it until it roots. God says, it's over for the lie if you say the word. This is not hyperbole, it is divine promise. When you name the lie, its power begins to crumble. When you tell the truth, you create oxygen where suffocation lived. Archangel Michael stands with drawn, glorious light, not to punish, but to cut the last cord. Begin the next breath. Begin the next sentence. Begin the next safe step. This message is for you. God says, walk into the day with your chest open. Do not try to keep anyone else's secret that costs you your life. Do not try to fix everything at once. Take one step, then another. Let the small steady acts of truthfulness become your new rhythm. You are loved. You are seen. You are held. Keep this close. Guard your heart. Speak when you are ready, but start planning now. God is with you. Archangel Michael stands ready. Say the word, and watch the lie lose its throne.